Et puis j'ai joué également à l'opérette, j'ai fait de l'opérette. Oh, j'ai fait bien des affaires.
Back to the language of Shakespeare.
Yeah.
As they say. Okay, after l'Arcade, when you finished with the l'Arcade, did you ever look back? Where did you go to next? What was after l'Arcade?
Well, as I told you, I was engaged by MGM to go and make post-synchronization because it was war. And but while I was there, I was too young to go on my own, so my mother wanted my elder sister to come with me. But while we were there, the war ended. And là, je cherche le nom de cet acteur. Anyway, he was representing France, and he came in Hollywood and said, "Too bad, you were translating in French the American or English movies, but now we will do it again in France since we are free." So the contracts were not good, and I had signed at that moment a contract of 2 years. And so I was a bit disappointed. You know, I thought I would do that job for 2 years. But in a way, I was glad because it was terribly hard to post-synchronize films at that time because we didn't have the, as we do now, la rythmo. We had to have les écouteurs, earrings, and you had the picture, and the moment the actress would come, you would have to go and speak. So it was quite hard. But I loved it. I loved it. And there was lots of great French people there making that same kind of work. So I made arrangements with les patrons, the boss, and I came back in Montreal since I was asked to play in radio and on stage. So I said, I better go back and do what.
Was that good for your career to come back from the States?
I think so.
People took you seriously, like.
I think so. It was, quite something to see a young Montrealer being asked to go and post-synchronize.
Were there other Canadians, French?
There were two others who were engaged at the same time as me. It was Citarides and Jacques Auger. But they didn't. I took the train with my sister, so it takes about 3 or 4 days to get to Hollywood. But they wanted to go by plane, but as it was war, you couldn't have planes as you liked. So they waited and waited too long. The war ended and they never went. They never did anything at MGM. But it was okay like that. But I wanted to go by. I hate planes anyway, so I was glad to take the train. And I saw, while we made that trip, we saw the Grand Canyon. We passed through the Grand Canyons. Oh, I thought it was such a wonderful trip.
And that is useful for your acting technique, really, to have your eyes opened by the big world like that. You also went to Toronto, right? Was that the same kind of exciting affair?
When I went to Toronto, it was to play. When we played Ticoc, for instance. And even before that, we played a play called St. Lazarus Pharmacy. And we played it in Montreal and after in Toronto. And so whenever I went to Toronto, it was when I was asked to play in English. So.
This guy, Eddie Dowling.
Eddie Dowling, Dowling. He was one of the greatest directors in New York at that time. For instance, he was the one who directed and played, je vais le dire là, Glass Menagerie from Tennessee Williams. And he succeeded in having Laura Taylor play the part of the mother, and she was so wonderful, you know, she was extraordinary. Since I saw her in that part, and I saw many, many other Glass Menagerie played by other actresses, I never, it's unjust for the others, but none succeeded in making me forget Laura Taylor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me more about Toronto then. You played the Toronto French Theatre, right?
Ah, yes,
Tell me
years.
all about that. All about that.
Years later, I played in Toronto at the French Theatre on Adelaide Street. And I played there, first of all, it was John Van Burek was the director at that time, and he asked me to play Voyage pour l'Ipaïa. And I loved it. I had a wonderful time there. And after that, we played also at the French Theatre. We played the last play that Gratien wrote for him and me, The Passion of Narcisse Mondou. We played there. And after, that's about all.
What kind of audience in Toronto went there? Were they all Francophones? Some
I don't
Francophiles?
know.
Or what exactly?
Francophile, probably. Oh, yes. Because there are lots of Francophone in Toronto. Eh? And I remember I had some, comment on dit, connections with l'Alliance Française in Toronto. So they could, you know, have lots of French-speaking people, and lots of English-speaking people would come to the theatre, French theatre.
Were the reviews good? Did you get much attention in the press in Toronto?
Well, yes, you know, the usual. Yes.
Mixed a little bit. You were telling me about. Actually, I want to ask you about Jean Gascon.
Ah,
He went
yes.
off to English Canada and sort of neglected his career here a little bit, right? What happened exactly? He dived in to the rest of Canada looking for a national theatre, and what happened with his career?
Yes. Well, I don't really know, but he directed Stratford Theatre for many years, and he did a wonderful job. After, when he left, he came back evidently, and he played a few plays, like Vanya, for instance. The last time I played with him was in Vanya. He was playing Serebriakov. He was a good Serebriakov. And, well, I suppose you never know, because he was not complaining about his health, lots, but he may have been not so healthy at that time, I don't know, and he died after, so.
Of the young male handsome leading roles, he and Roux were, of course, foremost in your generation, right?
Yeah, Jean Coutu was very, very handsome. Oh, yes.
Were there any of these actors you would fall in love with them
Never.
for the duration of the play?
Never happened to me. No.
What?
I liked them. I had fun with them. I thought they were clever and charming and well brought up and etc. But no, I had fun with them, but I never was in love with them.
More like family or something, eh?
A family, I don't know. No, it was fun. Des camarades, compagnons, comrades, you know. We had lots of fun.
Yeah. You were telling me about Monsieur Doriac. I don't know anything about him. Can you
No, Gaston Doriac. Gaston Doriac was the same period of time that Monsieur, you told me about. I don't remember his name, evidently. Anyway, he was a radio actor. I met him mostly on radio. I never saw him play on stage. Maybe he did, but I met him mostly on radio. He was very, very good actor.
Did you have like a radio soap operas?
My God, yes. We made our living out of them.
What was the longest role you had? The longest radio role, a repeating role?
Ah, well, it was Francine Louvain. Francine Louvain every day at Radio-Canada, yes, for years, yes.
Did people think you were Francine?
Oh, probably, I don't know, I suppose so, yes.
During our phone conversation, you told me about a theater critic who had a radio show.
Theater what?
A critic.
Oh, yes,
His
oui.
name was Mr. Lévesque. Can you tell me about your exposure to René Lévesque?
Oh, René Lévesque.
When did you first meet him?
Oh, well, he was a newspaper man, and he used to make critics of the shows. And as I was an actress, he came and we met. I don't remember exactly, but I was so impressed by his how clever he was, how quick he was, how pretty, how. So I multiplied the occasions to see him, and he was directing. A little later, he was directing shows on shortwaves. And he invited me many times to go and read scripts. It was for overseas, and I would read the scripts of other persons, yes. Oh, we worked together very often.
He was a colleague of your mother's, was he?
No, not a colleague, but as I loved him so much, I would bring him home because my mother was French and she was a good cook. And I would bring René at home, and he would eat, and Mother thought he was so bright. She loved him too.
You were telling me also about another political thing, another political character named Elliot. What is this about the artist ball? Was this artist ball every year?
Yes.
What was it like? Was it glittery, glamorous, or was it?
No, very glamorous. Oui. C'est Pierre Elliott Trudeau, yes. He was there at that ball, I don't remember exactly, during the 50s, 52, 55, I don't remember. And I was wearing earrings, but diamond earrings, beautiful. And when I wanted to go back home, I touched my ear and the one earring was missing. And I was so desperate, and Pierre was not far. And he said, "What's happening to you?" I was like a fool, probably. And I said, "Well, I lost my earring." He said, come with me. And he was on his knees and to try to find my earring. I never can forget that. He was so nice and so kind for me.
Did you find the earring?
Yes.
In 1947, Henri Pichette did Les Épiphanies.
Oui.
There was considered to be cruauté of language, a language exploréen, surréal. What did you think of this? It was so far from classical theatre.
I didn't see.
There would be a tradition, though, of people experimenting with the language.
But in France, Pichette was working in France with, en tout cas, not here. I don't remember. Or if he did something here, I was not part of that business.
Okay. Does La Fille du Soleil ring a bell for you, Carl Dubuc?
Yes, Carl Dubuc.
Yeah. Was this a high point of theatre, would you say?
It was a beginning, I suppose, for him. He was a newspaper man, and he decided to write that play. It was not a chef-d'œuvre, but it was nice.
He had décor by Gabriel Filion. Does this ring a bell?
No, nothing at all.
Fair enough. At around this period, Gratien Gélinas was seeking, and he was groping his way towards a Théâtre National et Populaire, as he would write in a theatre manifesto sort of thing he did.
Yes.
Did this have a concrete meaning to you, or was that like just a slogan, a national?
Oh, no.
What did it mean to you?
Oh, it meant a lot because for any group of theatre here who wanted to perdure, that it would not be only one show here and there and after nothing. No, you had, it's nice to have a home, a place, you know, un toit sur la tête. And when Gratien decided to have that theater, we all were very enthusiastic about that. Because I played, it was a kind of, how could I say that? It was kind of, comment on dit, un but, a goal in my life. I wanted to play the French-Canadian authors. And I did, most of them. I think there's not very many authors in French Canada that I didn't play. Bon. But I knew whenever I accepted to play a part in a play by Éloi de Grandmont, let's say, not only him, that I condemned myself for playing in front of nearly empty seats, you know. But after many experiences, the public came more and more to see the. So we thought that when Gratien bought La Comédie Canadienne, it would be marvelous for all of us. So yes, I think we were.
In a sense, Gratien and Jelena, at that period, we're not just talking about an author or an actor. We're talking about a phenomenon, you know. His Fridolino and all that.
Oh, yes.
It was like the Beatles, you know. It was a smashing success.
Yes.
Why was it so big? What was it about
It's
Quebec?
very hard to explain that. It was every year, I remember, but because I didn't see all of the revue, but my mother would go, and she would come and tell us about it. It was like conveying the public once a year to a great party. Come, we'll have a nice party. And he knew how to manage, you know, to amuse. People were laughing so much, and yes.
You were just a kid, though.
Yes, at that time, the first ones. But after I went and I saw them, yes.
Why do you think English Canada never had the same kind of thing? Are we still looking, maybe?
I don't know. Maybe for English Canada, the trouble, if there is a trouble, but I mean the difference is possible because we are not as they are influenced by United States. And that may explain a few things, maybe. You know, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a, comment on dit, I'm not a théoricienne. Je suis pas une théoricienne. But when I think of it, maybe it's because we are, I think, not completely independent from the States, but as long as authors, I think we are more than English Canada, peut-être, maybe.
Maybe we could actually, is there anything else we can add about Gratien and Jelena in that period? Do you think he knew the effect he was having on Quebec theatre? Or
yes, what do you think? He was not crazy. He would have had to be crazy not to realize that. You know, for instance, we would play a good play, let's say 10 shows, which was considered like a hit. He would put his shows and stay there and play with full houses for 2 months. So if he didn't know that he was a big hit, he would have been crazy. Eh? No, he was the biggest star. Oh, yes.
The Théâtre du Rideau Vert was founded in
Oh, yes.
1949.
Yes, probably. I don't remember.
It's been described as solid.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yvette Brindamour, the founder of Le Rideau Vert, knew, first of all, she was an actress. We began, she was a bit older than me, but we began the same paths, you know. But she knew what she wanted, and she had a view. She knew that she wanted to be there. She wanted to have a theater. She wanted to direct plays that would please a certain kind of public, and she did, and she succeeded remarkably.
They started out at the Jésus, right?
Oh, they made all the places that they could find, you know. Le Jésus, l'Orpheum, because they were, it was very hard when you have not a home of yourself. You go there, you go somewhere else. It was terrible for them at the beginning, you know, until they got their own house.
Did you have a favorite theater?
Oh, I must say Le Théâtre du Nouveau Monde, because I played there so many times, and it was the plays that they put there were, you know, I was very familiar with that kind of theater, and I played a lot. I have the feeling that I was part of the furniture, you know.
The Jeune Scène, founded by Marcel Dubé. The Jeune Scène, this was possibly the new enfant terrible starting out.
Marcel Dubé, yes.
He did Le Bal Triste and stuff like that. The Jeune Scène, were they like the rebels in any way?
I don't know a thing about that. I know Marcel Dubé, who is a marvelous author. I created for him on TV a part in his show called De 9 à 5, and I created with Jean Gascon Le Temps des Lilas. Yes, so he's a marvelous author. But no, this it must be his things that he was doing when he was very young, maybe, because when I knew him, there wasn't.
Les Temps des Lilas is very remembered to this day, actually, in a lot of the stuff I read. I read it here, I read it there, Les Temps des Lilas.
You mean?
It has been, it's in the books. It's in
yes, it was a nice
Why?
play.
What is it about Gascon? Was he really, could he bring something out of you? What was was he directing or acting with you?
He was both.
Okay.
He was directing and acting.
What was his talent then? Because we know he ended up at Stratford. What was his gift
he was a great director. He was a great director and a fairly good actor, a great actor too, yes. Oh yes, Jean gave us many things, you know, yes. Mm.
What stands out in your mind then about him?
What?
What is the most prominent memory of Gascon?
Son invention, inventive? Ah, yes, oh yes. He would never, with me anyway, he would never impose a tone, a gesture, which I didn't like. He would say, well, what would you like to do? And I would tell him I would rather do this than that. So he said, do it. No, he was very inventive, yes.
You talked about how Quebec wasn't necessarily heavily influenced by the United States.
Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know.
Probably had some influences like,
yes.
You know, Actors Studio and the fashionable technical approaches to theater. Do you remember that having any impact here? You know, things like the Actors Studio where actors say, I must live in the role for a few weeks. Were there any eccentrics who were trying this new USA approach?
Not the people I used to play with. It may be Maybe there were some, but no. We talked about this. Any method we would talk about, discuss it, but no, not the people I used to work with.
Okay. Saint Adele Lodge. Do you know that place? Did you ever play there?
Yes.
Do you remember where it was, what it was like, what it looked like?
Oh, it looked like no, comment donc? It looked to me, in my memory, it looked like a bowling alley or something like that. You know, a long theater, and but it was fun. We created there Le Printemps de la Saint-Martin, a play for Noël Coward, and we played that with Denise Pelletier. We had lots of fun.
So Théâtre Nouveau Monde started. Robert Gadois, Georges Groux,
Oui.
Guy Hoffman. These names, they all mean something.
Oh, they were, all of them, marvelous. Guy Hoffman, for instance, was, it's, I hate to use the word genius, but he was a genius, you know. He was so funny, and he could be dramatic as well. But Guy would enter a stage, and the public would laugh. He didn't open his mouth. He had the knack, you know. He had something extraordinary. He was wonderful.
Were there any musicals to speak of here in Quebec?
I did musicals at La Marjolaine. With a play from Marcel Dubé called Il est une saison. And we used to sing and dance and etc., etc. It was a marvelous experience. I loved it. I played also at Les Variétés Lyriques. It was called La Dernière Valse de Strauss. And I was playing a charming little part, singing, dancing, etc., etc.
The Théâtre de la Marjolaine there in Eastman, I think it is.
Yeah.
How would you describe that? Was it a summer theatre?
Yes.
Yeah. Every summer?
Every summer.
And who ran it?
Marjolaine Hébert. Marjolaine Hébert was the director, and she was having that grange, je ne sais pas comment dire ça en anglais, and it was nice. People would come very, very much.
Super. We have to change the tape for our last tape, I think. Is it tape 4?
Yeah.